Hello. Hello, welcome to Everyday Ordinary, Extraordinary Women. I'm Martina and I'm here with Christina.
Hello.
And we are your podcast hosts. And we were inspired to create this podcast after pondering this question. What would the world look like where we can be inspired by every person? Usually we're very quick to compare and judge ourselves and others. And when we do that, everybody is losing. So depending on my point of view, I can either feel small because I come out lacking, or arrogant and dismissive because I feel superior. And those are the only two options. And neither of those options actually make us feel great. They just, in the end, make us feel a little crappy. So here's our thought. Someone else's norm is someone else's extraordinary. Judgment comes from first impressions, and we invite you, the listener, to go beyond first impressions and see the magic everywhere. There is inspiration at every corner, in everyone, if we're willing to look. And today we're here with Beth. Welcome, Beth. Do you want to share a little bit about yourself, about who you are, about whatever you want to share with us?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. I was so excited when you asked. It's always so flattering. And I know Martina a little bit, but enough to know that I was very excited to be asked to be on her podcast. So thank you. So a little bit about me. I am an entrepreneur. I own a couple of businesses. My first business being a residential cleaning business that I started when I was a sophomore in college. So I had my oldest daughter when I was a sophomore in college and started cleaning houses just to get through my degree. And graduated with a degree in social work. And I did that for a couple years. And she realized quickly that I could not support my daughter in the way that a child deserves to be supported as a single mom on a social worker income. So I took the cleaning business full time. And it has now, she's 21 and she's now a senior in college. She's getting ready to graduate. And this whole journey has been the most beautiful. Every day I wake up, I cannot believe that this is my life. And not that it's been easy, but that the journey has been so rich. And a lot of healing has happened for me, both in this life and generational healing has happened to me through business. And as I was sharing with you before, I'm an empath. I'm highly sensitive. I'm intuitive, but I'm also wicked good at business. And making those two worlds make sense has been beautiful work that I hope to be able to share more as I continue on. So my husband runs the cleaning business for me now. I just, help with systems. I'm a business coach within the industry, as well as doing my own thing. But in the industry, I've been able to be an influencer, which still is hard for me to say. It feels silly, and I get to create content. And I just spoke on stage in California last week and do all kinds of fun things. It still doesn't seem real to me. Like I was walking in the hotel in San Diego and I was like, how is this my life? Like this is ridiculous. And grateful. So
How beautiful and how powerful, right? That,
thank you.
like one of the things I hear inside of what you're saying is like your daughter was kind of your, what's the word, like the engine behind,
Yeah.
like the fire on your butt, under your butt that had you going. And it's just so beautiful. It's like when I see you, I just see the power that you have. And
Thank you.
it's just so beautiful
Thank
to
you.
see women just embodying that and embracing that. So thank you for doing that for the world.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's just really, really beautiful.
Thank you.
So if we really knew you, what would we know?
Oh gosh. There's so much duality, if that's the word, within me, where I'm very outgoing and I love being on stage, but I'm also very, very introverted. I love nothing more than having a book in my bed and blocking out the rest of the world. Where I wear these red spike high heels on stage when I'm speaking, and that's very much who I am. But I'm also somebody who is obsessed with baby goats and farming. So there's like there's so many what seem very opposite parts of me. Um, but I've learned to accept that it's okay that I can be all of those things. So
So there's some interesting things inside of that normally I'd ask one question right now, but I'm going to switch ahead to what fills you up, because for me that's kind of what I hear here, like that you need to fill, like maybe being with the baby goats is part of what fills you up. So maybe let's go to that question. What fills you up? What recharges your batteries so that you can be the entrepreneur, badass businesswoman that the world knows
yeah.
you as?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I should preface this by saying that I am in recovery. So I got sober when I was 23 years old and I'm now 46. So I've been sober as long as I was alive when I got sober. And I think
Congrats. Big
thank you.
deal.
It is a big deal. Thank you. And I think having come from that background where I would not be alive, absolutely, had I continued that path. I think I've always just had this deep sense of gratitude. So, and I find delight in so many things. I mean, it does little things and big things. I am just so fully delighted. And the baby goats being one of them, like most people would think that's insane, but they make me so happy. My husband even rented a pair that we could have in our house. Like we have a pretty new, they slept overnight in my bathroom. We built new construction. And people are like, why would you do that? And I was like, because I want to. Like, that's why. So I don't know. I think I just find delight in the smallest things. I love quirkiness. I love anyone who will go against the status quo, even if I don't like what it is they're saying or doing. It just delights me. I'm like, do you? Like, how did you get here? Yeah.
It's beautiful because it's that why not?
Why not? Because I want
Brings
to.
you joy, if it
Yeah.
makes you happy, if it fills
Yeah.
your tank, why not?
Yeah.
Rather than why, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm obsessed with animal print and everything it's all, and I've been teased for it. And I was like, but I love it. That's all the answer you need. I love it.
Yeah.
And I do believe that living that gives other people permission to just, if you love it and it's not hurting anyone, who cares? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's really inspiring to see someone else really letting their freak fly, right? And then
Oh
you're like,
yeah.
oh my God, I want to be like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
For sure.
It's fun.
Agreed.
And be so passionate about it, right?
Yeah.
That's like the passion. We had somebody, we just recorded the men's podcast a few weeks back, and he plays the flute, but the way he talks about the flute was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like his goal is to really embody flute playing, and the passion that he brought to it was just right, Christina. It was just
Absolutely. And though it's also after putting down the flute for like 20 years and not touching it, and now coming back to it as he's about to retire from his career and finding this newfound passion and inspiration from another flutist that he's inspired by, that he listening to her has given him this new inspiration of what's possible inside of playing. So now he has this new like hope, I don't know, or possibility of what's possible in what he can create with that instrument.
But
So,
it's with the passion. It's bringing life into what you do.
yeah,
Right. It's making so for him, it's the music then is alive. It's not just music, right? So, and that's part of what I hear in what you're saying. It's like the passion and the joy, which makes it come alive.
Yeah.
Makes you come alive and makes others come alive, probably fills your tanks and on, right? Which is really, really beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. And conversations like this fill my tank. These are, when I have people, I can have these like deep conversations and they get it. Oh, it's such a breath of fresh air. So, these conversations, to me, this is the stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And part, you're like, if I think about what you're saying, what comes is like just really being heard and held. And I don't know if that's the words you would give and that's what
Yeah.
you're feeling, but that's if I feel into what you're saying, it's like, yeah, it's like that being heard and held. And
Yeah.
there's really like you can just be.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And the depth, like to talk about the flute and understand somebody has that deep passion and really understand that that's like such a deep, beautiful thing. And I don't need to understand it, but it just makes the world more colorful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. So tell us a silly or funny or embarrassing story.
Oh gosh. There are so many because I always put my foot in my mouth. And oh gosh, I know I read this question. Silly, funny, or embarrassing story. Can we come back to that one? Because I am drawing a complete blank. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Let us know when it comes.
Oh, it will come. Yeah, yeah. Because there's so many of them.
I was like, you could ask your daughter, and she probably could give you 20 just in 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. All the things she's worked out in therapy about her mother. Yeah.
So, what is your superpower?
I did my superpower, I think is radical empathy.
Mm-hmm.
In aligned with, like, I see the world in numbers. So to me, everything, and I didn't realize not until very recently that not everyone did this. So I divide everything of this conversation, everything's divided in numbers and not like ones and twos, just more of like the concept of numbers. And that's how I organize it and make sense of things. And it just gives me not an intuition, but a knowing. That's both my biggest superpower and my biggest curse. Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit more?
Which part? The superpower and curse?
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's really hard to explain. So everything is a calculation to me. Like everything is a calculation. And not even on the surface. I organize my thoughts in like math problems, basically. And that's how I see the world. And it's not without emotion either. Even that's calculated.
So what kind of calculation?
Um, for instance, us having this conversation when we first started talking before the podcast started, I was calculating my safety.
Mhm.
I was calculating the depth of you guys and what this conversation, how this conversation could go. I was calculating and calculating, it sounds like calculated, it has a negative pretense, but really just really understanding and feeling myself into how do I want to show up and how is it safe for me to show up?
Mm-hmm.
And safe for you guys as well, because that's a very, understanding that, what's the word? That self-awareness of how I'm impacting others.
Mhm.
So everything is kind of calculated in that way. So what's great about it is I have a knowing, which I'm sure both of you do as well. I just have a knowing. I just know things.
Mm-hmm.
The bad part is people don't want to hear it. So it's like, I know this and I've had to learn, but it's not my job to show you. That's your work. And also in relationship with others, trying to be in relationship, it's like I see this thing that I know you don't see. because I have an awareness, and it's not like it's hard to set boundaries when people don't understand it all. So I have to set very firm boundaries based on, you don't have to understand it. I just know. So
it's funny because I can get it. I so hear what you're saying about the whole safety and kind of like, but I still can't. I don't get the number piece, right? But it's funny because in other ways I do, like in my massages, right? I in my head I know I want to spend this much time. Like I know if I have an hour, I need so much time here.
Yeah.
Or but if you come in with something else and you have an issue, then I'm constantly recalculating
Yeah.
how much time I have for whatever, or even like today, like I have really a lot of stuff on me. So my day is really calculated and what can get fit in and what can but it's completely different. And I love these conversations because I think we all think everyone thinks the same way we do.
Yeah.
Until you have these conversations and then you're like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
Yours is all calculated. And
Yeah.
I think in bubbles or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
it's fun because you're like, whoa, I didn't even know you could think these ways until
Yeah.
we have these conversations, and it's just trips my brain out.
I know. It's so cool. But it really helped me to understand that people don't think like that.
Yeah.
That was so helpful to me because I would get so frustrated with people because it was so obvious to me. And then it helps with, like, I'm not good at math either, which is kind of funny, but I'm just really good at this. And it's really helped me with business because I can just, like, I just can put it together, and I just know it's so cute. My younger daughter's the same way. That girl can calculate a profit margin like you wouldn't believe. It's so cool to see that quality in my child.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks.
It's so good. All right, we're going to give you a multi-part question. You can choose to answer. It might be one answer for all of it. You can choose just one piece of this. I'll read it, and you can
Okay.
go where you go with this one.
Okay.
So what made you who you are today?
Mm.
Or maybe what was your biggest lesson? What took the most courage? Or maybe when did you take a stand for something that mattered?
Can you repeat them one more time?
Yeah, of course. So what made you who you are today? What was your biggest lesson? What took the most courage? Or when did you take a stand for something that mattered?
Okay, it's very clear. I think I can answer them all with the same. So I was born into a very, very, very fundamentalist, very strict, very, black and white family. And that is not who I am. And very, very much divided by gender too. Like, this is what a woman, like, what was acceptable for me was very, very small. And I just try as I might, and I think that's why I was, fell early into addiction. I tried because I didn't know there was any other option other than to be this very small, specific thing. And when I look back at my younger self, I am so proud of her because she found a way to fight that and to get out of that with having absolutely no reference. So I, standing up, there were really no women in my life that were true to themselves. I mean, the first one I can really think about was in college, a college professor, that I actually saw that in real life. So just overcoming that and those generational patterns and finding my way. I am so proud of that work that I've done, and to be able to, like, heal that. And so my daughters don't have to. So that's been my greatest work and what I'm the most proud of.
Absolutely. I mean, to come from a background where you're so suppressed and don't have those tools that you need to figure out what you really want to do with your life, or who do I want to be when I grow up, or
Right.
or how do I navigate these challenges in our society we're living in, and to not have strong women around you to help mold that it's a true testament to who you really are, and your intuition and your innate abilities that you came into this world with, that you learned how to trust and
Navigate. Yeah.
yeah.
I do also think it's part of like my purpose and why I'm here. And I'm learning, I threw the baby out with the bathwater when it came to like religion. And as I'm coming back to spirituality, I'm realizing very clearly that there have been people leading the way. I just couldn't see them.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, it's really cool.
And that's such a powerful insight, right? That there's always earth angels, right? But we, depending on where we are, we don't see them, right? We don't see them at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful. So powerful. It's so powerful, right? And it's like the breaking out of, and we're all called to do that.
Yeah.
Right? We're actually, I think that's part of like being a human, is to break out of of, of the environment we chose to be born into, so we can become who we're meant to be, right?
Yeah.
Or who we chose to be, or like just get rid of all the conditioning so we can bloom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes me think that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I say it was an incredibly, incredibly painful process. And it was not like a pretty point A to point B. I'm preaching to the choir here, but it was so incredibly, incredibly painful.
Mm.
So much of like death and rebirth, within myself. And oh boy.
Over and over and over and over.
Yeah. And I know the work is not done, but I at least feel for now that really like separating from that mindset has been accomplished. But there's always more to do.
Yeah. We like to call those FGOs, fucking growth opportunities.
But I see it. I mean, I don't believe in using my children to heal myself, but there is so much healing that's just watching them, being able to show up for them the way that I needed to be shown up for, and then seeing the benefits of that within them. And it's just such a gift.
And learning from them too, right? There's so much that they teach us, like when we open up to it. When we don't approach it like we know it all, they have so much to teach us.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And can we treat ourselves how we treat them?
Right.
That's one of the big ones that every so often pops up. It's like, could I treat myself like I would treat my most precious friend or my so loved child, right? They're just, and that's the constant journey, right? It's coming back to that, creating safety for ourselves, loving ourselves, and whatever it looks like, right? It's like, I messed up. Okay. Not great, but it doesn't mean that I will withdraw love. It just means that I didn't do so well at that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. What did we learn from it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So tell us about the time you took a chance for love.
Oh.
And it's not necessarily romantic love. It can be.
But it can be.
It can be for your goats or for.
Oh my gosh.
For your children or for.
Yeah. Wow, took a chance for love. I don't think this will answer the question, but I had, again, speaking to the choir, I'm sure, but part of this journey to self-love was through really bad relationships, right? Like my picker was so broken. And I had one just toxic relationship after another. And I was equally as toxic. I would not say I was a victim in these circumstances. And I decided, Jordan, my oldest was, I want to say 5 or 6. And I decided that I would just jump. I would just jump relationship to relationship. I had someone joke with me, you don't chase them, you replace them. Like, I just keep it moving, boys. Like, and I decided that I was going to, well, maybe this is the chance on love. Maybe it was the chance of loving myself, that I was going to be whole financially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, that I was going to be 100% okay if I didn't have a partner or relationship. And I got to work on that really, really, really hard. And by the time my husband came along, well, this could be the funny story. My oldest daughter is biracial. So everyone only assumed that my one credential for a man is that he was Black. And it was like, I have other standards. Like, so everyone would introduce me to their single Black friend. It was just like, it was exhausting. It was so also degrading to them as well, like, as if that, both ways. And so a friend did it to me again. She had this friend, perfect for me for one reason. And I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to meet him. And she kept insisting and insisting, insisting. I said, you know what? I will give him my email address, because I don't want a text message. I don't want a phone call, nothing. He can have my email address. And so he emailed me, and I just politely declined. And then she was persistent. He was persistent. And I said, fine, we will meet at lunchtime. And I knew I had to pick up my daughter in like an hour and a half. So we're going to cap this. And he made me laugh so hard that my cheeks hurt the next day. Like, I've never experienced anything like that. And as I was walking away from the date, I was like, shit. Like, well, I guess that's a wrap. Like, I just, in our relationship, there's been so much, it's so hard. And he runs the business with me, for me. So he was in his 30s. I was in my 30s. I had already owned my own home, and I had a child, and he had never been married or had kids. And we are merging our lives together. And I made him keep his apartment for a long time, because I didn't know if I wanted to do all that. Like, I love your Christina, how you guys are in separate places. Like, I am all about that. So yeah, like, taking a chance with that and on myself. And I think also being a single mom of a very precious little girl, I took it really seriously. And he has shown up again and again. Yeah. And he's done his healing work, and we could do ours separately and together.
It's so beautiful, because you have to do that work on yourself to truly be able to love someone else. And so I think it's such a beautiful answer to both questions all in one. That, yeah, you have to like take the time to do the self-love and do all that work, and then anything's possible, right? But when you don't know how to love yourself, you can't possibly know how to love someone else or let them love you.
Right. Yeah. And it was so cool to be in a position for the first time of like, we get to choose each other. Like, it's not because I need health insurance. It's not because I can't cover my mortgage or I'm so emotionally spent. Like, we choose each other. And we continue to choose each other. And the best part is like our engagement, it's not been romantic at all. It is very disappointing to people, because for me, this is like again, I calculate everything. This is the most important business decision anyone can make in their life. So it was literally like the most unromantic, like, business calculation, negotiation, back and forth, up until the night before we got married. It was not romantic, but I'm so glad we did it that way. Like, it wasn't about the wedding. It was about what kind of life are we going to build together. And then after we did all of that, we've changed our mind a million times about what we want our life to look like. And so we've had to negotiate that together.
But you set that groundwork of how to have those conversations from the beginning.
Right.
So you can continue to have those conversations,
Right.
which is so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. Not always easily.
And it's a constant negotiation, right? Because
Yes.
it's like, you know, it's not life is not a straight line, right? And it's just so beautiful what you're sharing. It's just like that. You know, I listened to a podcast by Zach Bush, and one of the things he said that is often when two people get together, it's because we want something from the other person rather than we are whole and complete within ourselves. And you're an enrichment to my life, right? Most of the times it's like, okay, it's an exchange
Right.
rather than an enhancement, an enrichment. And that's part of what I hear and what you're saying is that they were so clear that you want enrichment, you don't want any, and so, what he then says is then in that process of needing something from another person, we suck them dry, right? And so everybody's depleted in the end, rather than everybody is empowered and filled up.
Right.
Just beautiful.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Yummy.
Yeah, and one of the things that we appreciate about each other, like I'm just a weirdo, and so is he. He wears suits every single day, even to the zoo. Like he and I, yeah. And when I'm not in leopard print and red high heels, I'm in my pajamas. And so he but we just let each other be who we are. And I see so many relationships where they're trying to, like, they have like a cutout of the person that they think they want, and they're trying to shove somebody into that cutout. And we really set that line that like we are who we are. We love each other for our individual, and be able to grow and change and evolve in that. We were not having children. Like we drew that line in the sand, and then we changed our mind, and we were able to like make space for that negotiation. So it's been hard, but it's been worth it.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, thanks.
So Beth, if you had a magic wand and you could give people any quality, what would it be and why?
Empathy. Does everyone say empathy?
No.
Oh, really?
Variations. Yeah, there's.
Yeah.
We had everybody says something different, so it's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would say empathy, because just being able to see things through the eyes of others, one, it's such a gift, and oh my gosh, I mean, I feel like it would solve every problem that we have. So,
Agreed.
yeah. Yeah.
So what do you want people to remember about you?
I do want them to remember me. I do want to leave a legacy. That's a tough one, because it's actually very important to me. They say that, I forget how many generations out, but like no one would remember you. Like, and I want to have a massive, massive impact. I really want to have a massive impact. And I'm good. I want to be remembered for somebody who just lived life out loud and wasn't ashamed of who I was, and gave others permission to do the same.
Live out loud. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So Beth, you have a business. Do you want to tell us about your business? Tell our listeners?
Sure. Yeah. So I have a couple of them. I am the owner, and forgive me, I don't remember how much I said already. I own a residential cleaning business. We're located in Southeast Pennsylvania, so right outside of Philadelphia. And we can be followed on TikTok. We have a viral following, which has been a ton of fun and a little awkward. So it's at Elderege Cleaning. Elderege is spelled with all E's. And that's actually opened a ton of doors for me and for my business. Silly as it seems. So there's that business. And then I also do coaching, so in the cleaning industry. And then also outside the cleaning industry on my own, I've been doing business coaching and helping empathic healers, but who are also in business. So it's specifically outside of the healing community. So if somebody is, and I think we were talking a little bit before this, if somebody owns, a service-based business, it doesn't mean they're not an empathic healer or they're not highly sensitive and intuitive. I like to bridge that gap, and that's what I'm working towards. And that's Beth Elderege Consulting.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're going to include all that information in our links with the podcast. If anyone wants to be in touch with you, they know how to find you.
Yeah.
Beth, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for your amazing personality, your beautiful smile, and your vulnerability and words of wisdom. Just had a blast with you today.
Same. Thank you. It's been such a pleasure.
So thank you for being here with us. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you loved this, please leave us a review or share with your friends. And please always remember you are extraordinary and you rock. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
Bye for now. Beth, you want to say bye?
Bye. Thank you so much. It's been so nice chatting with you ladies, and thank you.
Awesome.